Wow, okay, so it's been quite the month. Spain was really fun. Getting to Spain from France was a nightmare. Excuse you. Okay, so getting to Spain from France was a nightmare because there was a strike. And apparently, strikes just happen a lot. And I didn't realize because the US doesn't really do transit strikes like that. So, I was like, oh, well, it ends the day before I leave, so surely all the trains will be back to normal. No, there was no way to get out of France by train on the day that we needed to get out of France. So, we took a 16-hour bus ride, which was brutal. And I am never doing that again. I am not meant to sit in a bus for that many hours, but we did get several hours to before getting on the bus to wander around Strasbourg, which was a really cool place that I want to spend more time in. Actually, France is really beautiful. Um, and then yeah, so you're in a bus for 16 hours and finally wound up in Barcelona, exhausted and achy, and went right to the conference because we couldn't get into our Airbnb until like 3. So that was fun. And the rest of the time, I just did a lot of exploring. I went to the beach, which was really nice, and had good tacos because there was a Mexican place run by a Mexican immigrant, like right by our Airbnb. So the tacos were really, really good. And then we spent a day in Paris, and I did the thing. I got to look up the butt of the Eiffel Tower, which was my goal for this year. I didn't have a croissant, but I had a crepe, which is just as good, and it was so good. It was great. So I definitely want to go back to France sometime and spend some time in Paris outside of the touristy areas, and I want to spend more time in Strasbourg. Um, we rode the TGV from Perpignan to Paris, and that was so fast. It was intense. It felt like flying, but being on land. So it was very weird. My body was really confused about like what to do with that weird information. But it was super fun and super cool. And I can't play video games on a train going 300 kilometers an hour, I learned. So that was good to know. And then, like, the trip back was fine. We got the ICE trains all the way back, and it was a good trip. And then after we got back from the trip, I got sick. It was not COVID, but I got a cold and I lost my voice for like a solid week. I've like lost my voice before, but it's always just sort of been like hoarse and raspy. I literally could not speak for like 4 days, and I just had tea, like hot water with honey and lemon, and I was just drinking that constantly for 7 days. And I went through an entire bottle of honey all by myself. I haven't had a cold in years because I've been isolated and masking and not around other people because of COVID. So this is the first cold I've had since like 2020, and it knocked me on my ass, and it was really brutal. And I like as colds go, I've definitely had worse colds. um what it was rough, and I didn't have like all my familiar things. Oh my goodness, Peridot, do not bite Farid's ear. I took her outside on a walk. We hung out in the grass in our courtyard, but it's cold and I don't think she likes that very much. Anyway, what was really cool is there were like 80 people at the conference that we went to, and everyone was required to wear masks inside. All of the food was outside. The conference provided enough tests that people could bring them home at the end as well for both COVID and the flu. So everyone wore masks, everyone tested like every couple days, and we all just like ate outside and hung out outside. And there was only one case of COVID out of the entire 80 people who were there. Only one person got COVID. Lots of people came home to their families having COVID, but like no one in the conference went back home and with COVID and infected other people. So that was huge. Like, you can have events safely. You just have to not be a fucking dick, which is great. So that was really nice. And now I'm back in the normal world where I don't trust people to mask or go to things without, I'm like a little bit nervous again, but I keep reminding myself I have my booster. So, like, if I get it, it'll probably not be the worst thing ever. So anyway, now I'm feeling better, which is good. Last week was really busy because I have been organizing an event all summer for the Coalition for Responsible Home Education. Now that we have a new executive director, I moved to director of operations, and now I'm just an advisor. But I really wanted to leave her with something that she could use to like network and to really put us in a good position going forward. So we had an info session about parental rights extremism, and that went super well. There's gonna be another one. Go sign up for our email list if you're not on it and you want to hear about the next one. And so that was last week, and so this week is like the first time I've been able to sort of like it was that and recovering from a cold. So this is the first time I've been able to actually like sit down and kind of recap what's happened over the last month. So it was fun. And this month we are sort of investing in our home. We painted my bedroom. So we painted my bedroom blue, and we made a cool little thing on the outside in the living room as well that goes into my room. And it's about the same shade of blue as it was in Oakland, which I'm really happy about. And I went to IKEA the other day and got a couple little things, like this little nightstand and another pillow that like honestly kind of sucks. I did not get a new Peridot. But we also got a lamp, and we went to the hardware store and we got a peace lily for outside, which the cats like to sit under but are not eating because they're good cats. And I'm not like super good with plants, so I'm really hoping that we got the peace lily because it's good for shade and doesn't require a whole lot of attention. So as long as I remember to water it once a week, I'll be okay. So yeah, that's what's been up. Just house stuff. We're not going anywhere for the holidays. We're gonna stay in Berlin and experience Berlin New Year. So we're basically just doing like homey stuff for the next month or two, trying to get this place to feel like we live in it instead of it's just a weird little shell of a place that we dump stuff in. So that's what's been going on. I'm hoping to put together some more gaming videos on my gaming channel. I just uploaded another trans rights farm Stardew Valley video, and I've decided that this month I'm gonna do a low-key version of NaNoWriMo. So I'm not holding myself to 50,000 words, but I'm going to write a little bit every day and start working on the memoir that people keep asking me to write. So I'm doing that this month. If you're a member of my Patreon, then you can tell me if you want to see excerpts or not, because it'll be kind of heavy. But if I post any excerpts, then they will be there. I decided that one of my long-term goals is I want to have my memoir publishable by the time I'm 40, which gives me like a little over 8 years to get this together, which I think is probably enough time. With the help of my therapist, 8 years should be okay. Yeah, I am trying to find things that I can do that have some kind of social community aspect, which is why I was thinking NaNoWriMo, because it's sort of like a built-in sort of internet cultural thing. And I'm done planning the event, so I'm not like organizing anything, so now I have like this void to fill again. And I'm jumping ship from Twitter, but also just sort of like tired of hearing everything all the time. I'm so tired of just hearing every single piece of bad news happening around the planet 24/7. It really stresses me out and like gets really overwhelming, and I don't really need to know that people hate trans people that much all the time, you know? So I'm trying to do stuff that is not on the internet. So I crocheted myself a shawl. That took a week. And then I was out of a project. And crocheting myself a shawl is really nice and gives my hands something to do that isn't doom scrolling. But there's not like a social component to it. And NaNoWriMo doesn't really have a direct social component, but I at least feel like I'm part of a thing. So at least until I can find like something to do here in Berlin, that's sort of my plan. So we'll see how well it pans out. I did one day of writing so far, and I'm clearly procrastinating because I'm making this instead of writing another little bit, but I'm going to do another bit later today. And yeah, I'll keep you posted when more cool, fun, interesting things happen, and when we have the apartment fleshed out without boxes I need to recycle everywhere. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, leave a like, subscribe, you know the drill. I will see you next time.